what if I told you there's an animal walking among us that can remember your face for over 5 years, plot revenge against you, and even teach its children to hate you? And no, I'm not talking about your neighbor's cat. I'm talking about crows. These jet-black geniuses have been secretly outsmarting humans for decades, and what scientists have discovered about their intelligence will completely change how you look at these so-called bird brains forever. Picture this. You're walking through the University of Washington campus, minding your own business, when suddenly you're dive-bombed by an angry crow. But here's the twist. You've never done anything to this bird in your life. So why is it targeting you specifically? The answer lies in one of the most mind-blowing experiments ever conducted on animal memory. Researchers wore creepy caveman masks while capturing crows for banding. And what happened next defied everything we thought we knew about animal intelligence. Those crows didn't just remember the masks. They held on to that grudge for over 5 years. But it gets even more insane. These birds actually taught their offspring, who had never even seen the original researchers, to attack anyone wearing those same masks. We're talking about generational revenge here, passed down like some kind of avian family feud. When these masked researchers walked across campus years later, entire flocks would emerge from nowhere, cawing warnings and dive-bombing with surgical precision. They had essentially become wanted criminals in the crow community, and the bounty on their heads was permanent. But the grudge holding is just the beginning of what makes these creatures absolutely extraordinary. While most animals struggle with basic problem solving, crows have mastered something that only humans and a handful of captive great apes can do: compound tool construction. Imagine being locked out of your house and having to combine a coat hanger, a stick, and a piece of wire to create the perfect tool to get inside. That's exactly what New Caledonian crows do on a daily basis. When researchers presented them with puzzle boxes containing food that was just out of reach, these birds didn't just grab the nearest stick and hope for the best. They systematically examined the available materials, selected multiple components, and then assembled them into complex multi-part tools. One crow even created a 4-part tool, inserting sticks into hollow tubes to create the exact length needed to retrieve its reward. The precision and foresight required for this kind of engineering is staggering, especially when you consider that these birds are working with brains the size of a walnut. And if compound tool construction wasn't impressive enough, get ready for this revelation about their planning abilities. Most animals live entirely in the present moment, driven by immediate needs and impulses. But crows can actually plan for specific future scenarios with remarkable accuracy. In a groundbreaking study, researchers showed crows 3 different puzzle boxes, each requiring a unique tool to open. After familiarizing the birds with the boxes, they removed them from the test area for 5 minutes. The birds were then presented with 5 different objects, the 3 correct tools, and 2 random distractors. After making their selection, they had to wait another 10 minutes before being allowed back into the test room. The results were absolutely shocking. Not only did the crows choose the correct tool for whichever puzzle box they encountered, but they remembered to bring that specific tool with them into the testing area. This wasn't random luck or simple conditioning. This was deliberate, strategic thinking about future events. To put this in perspective, human children don't develop this level of future planning until they're around 5 years old, and even then, many struggle with similar tasks. The water tube experiments revealed perhaps the most stunning display of crow intelligence yet documented. When presented with tubes filled with water that had treats floating on top, just out of reach, these birds didn't panic or give up. Instead, they demonstrated a sophisticated understanding of physics that would make Archimedes proud. The crows systematically dropped rocks into the water-filled tubes, watching as the water level rose and brought the treats within reach. But the brilliance didn't stop there. When presented with objects of different densities, they consistently chose the heavy sinking items over the light, floating ones. They understood that only the sinking objects would displace enough water to raise the level significantly. In another variation, when given 2 tubes with different starting water levels, the crows consistently chose to drop their stones into the tube with a higher water level, recognizing that it would require fewer stones to reach the treat. This wasn't trial and error. This was genuine problem solving based on an intuitive understanding of cause and effect relationships. So how is it possible that a bird brain can rival the cognitive abilities of a 7-year-old human child? The answer lies in one of evolution's most fascinating mysteries. Birds and mammals split from their common ancestor over 320 million years ago, taking completely different evolutionary paths. Mammals developed the layered cerebral cortex that we associate with intelligence, while birds evolved something entirely different, called the pallium. For decades, scientists assumed that without a cerebral cortex, birds were doomed to be relatively simple creatures. But recent research has revealed something absolutely mind-blowing about the bird pallium. The neural fibers and circuitry are organized in remarkably similar patterns to the mammalian neocortex, with connections running both horizontally and vertically. It's as if evolution found two completely different ways to build the same high-performance engine. But perhaps even more incredible is the discovery about neuron density in corvid brains. These birds pack twice as many neurons into their small brains as primates with similar-sized brains. We're talking about neuron densities that rival much larger primates, creating an incredibly efficient biological computer crammed into a space no bigger than a walnut. The mystery deepens when we consider why crows evolved to be so incredibly intelligent in the first place. Unlike chimpanzees, dolphins, or other highly social mammals, adult crows don't live in complex social hierarchies that would traditionally drive the evolution of intelligence. The answer might lie in their unique approach to parenting and adolescence. New Caledonian crows have one of the longest parent-child relationships in the bird world, with parents feeding and teaching their offspring for up to 2 years. During this extended childhood, young crows have constant access to role models who demonstrate tool use and problem-solving techniques. But the real action happens during their teenage years, when young corvids form what researchers aptly call juvenile gangs. These teenage flocks engage in exactly the kind of behavior you'd expect from adolescents. They hang out, bully each other, play pranks, and establish social hierarchies through conflict and cooperation. It's during this critical period that crows develop the social intelligence and problem-solving skills that will serve them throughout their adult lives. Some species of corvids even form relationships with other species, particularly wolves in places like Yellowstone National Park, where ravens have been observed playing tug-of-war with wolf pups and engaging in what appears to be genuine interspecies friendship. The implications of corvid intelligence extend far beyond academic curiosity and into practical applications that could benefit both humans and the environment. Several companies and research institutions are now exploring ways to harness crow intelligence for environmental cleanup efforts. The concept is surprisingly simple yet brilliant. Train crows to pick up cigarette butts and small pieces of litter in exchange for food rewards. Automated training devices can teach the birds to deposit trash into collection containers, creating a self-sustaining cleanup system. A theme park in France has already implemented this program successfully, with 6 rooks working 4 days a week to collect litter under the supervision of a falconer. While some might argue that we're exploiting these intelligent creatures, the program serves multiple purposes. It helps clean the environment, demonstrates human-animal cooperation, and educates the public about the remarkable cognitive abilities of these often misunderstood birds. The success of these programs suggests that we've only begun to scratch the surface of what might be possible through cooperation with our corvid neighbors. The revelation of crow intelligence forces us to reconsider our entire understanding of consciousness and cognition in the animal kingdom. If birds that diverged from our evolutionary lineage over 300 million years ago can develop problem-solving abilities that rival young human children, what other intelligent species might we be overlooking? The traditional markers we've used to identify intelligence, large brain size, social complexity, mammalian heritage, clearly don't tell the whole story. There could be other small-brain species harboring remarkable cognitive abilities that we've simply failed to recognize or properly test. The study of corvid intelligence has opened up entirely new avenues of neuroscience research. challenging our assumptions about what kinds of brain architecture can support complex thought processes. Each new discovery about these remarkable birds brings us closer to understanding the fundamental nature of intelligence itself. And perhaps more importantly, it humbles us to realize that we share our planet with creatures whose mental capabilities we're only beginning to appreciate. The next time you see a crow perched on a telephone wire, remember that you're not just looking at a simple scavenger bird. You're looking at one of nature's most sophisticated problem solvers, equipped with a memory that could put an elephant to shame and planning abilities that would impress a chess master. These black-winged geniuses have been watching us, learning from us, and quite possibly judging us for far longer than we ever imagined possible. That's a wrap on today's wild journey. But here at the Zoo-phoria Show, we're just getting started exploring nature's most incredible stories. Subscribe if you want to keep discovering the shocking, hilarious, and downright unbelievable truths about the animals sharing our planet. Your next favorite animal fact is just one click away.